Again. Hi. So as you can see, I'm in my car. It's a rainy day here. Um, okay, there's a message that says it's unable to upload my thumbnail. I'll figure out some kind of thumbnail to give you guys later. I don't know. I'm just in the moment here. I have some stuff on my mind, so maybe you guys can give me some feedback and help me figure this out. So I was talking to a friend earlier today. We were kind of talking about life and um, just different things that come up and last time I always talk about manifesting and that kind of thing. And so we were kind of catching up and talking about what's been going on and good things that happen and all of that. And then we started talking about so this person has for a number of years was not able to do all the things that she wanted to do in her life because she was caring for a family member. And so she really had to put her life on hold. And I mean, actually, she didn't have to, but she chose to, right? Put her life on hold in a lot of ways and make sure she was there to take care of this person. And so she doesn't have to do that anymore. And so now she's like, oh, I want to catch up. Hi, John Farrow. It's nice to, I was going to say, it's nice to see you, but thanks for tuning in. So now she's free to do what she wants to do. And she's saying, I want to go catch up. And, like she wants to do a lot of traveling and all that kind of stuff, which is great. And now she has the ability to go do that. And I was like, have you ever had a situation in life? And I will ask, I got a thumbs up already. Thank you guys. I always love the thumbs ups. Thank you so much. Um, have you ever had a situation in life where you really, really want something? And maybe you're like, okay, I don't have enough money to get it right now, or it's not the right time in my life, or, whatever. There's some kind of obstacle, maybe having to care for a family member, a child, or a parent, or whatever. There's some kind of, I won't call it an obstacle, but some stuff that you have to do beforehand. And so you're not really able to get it. Or maybe you are in a place where you feel like you can get it. But thank you for the second thumbs up. I see y'all out there. Thank you. You feel like you are at that place, but for whatever reason, it's not coming, and it can be frustrating. And you're like, okay, what's up, God? And I've been trying and doing my best, and they keep on coming. Yay. Um, you're like, you really want this thing to happen, and you feel like you've been doing your best, and but it may not be showing up in the way that you want it to or the time frame that you want it to. It can be frustrating, right? Because you're like, I really want this, I want to have this experience, or I want to achieve this goal, or whatever it is. And then one day, boop, things start opening up. And you're like, oh my gosh, I have the ability now. I have the means, I have the time, I have the, the money, the whatever it is. I can go do these things that I want to do, focus on myself, whatever. And sometimes though, and I asked her this question, and so I'm going to ask you guys too. And I would love to hear what you have to say. So can I see the chat? I'm on my phone, right? I don't know if I can see the chat now. Oh, let's see down here. Can I see this chat? Top chat. Oh, super chat. Y'all can super chat me, by the way. You know what that means, right? You can be like, I love you with a donation. That'd be awesome because Lord Jesus, being back in California, things are very different. Anyway, and yes, I see the thumbs up that keep coming. Thank you so much. So what have you been in a situation where you really, really wanted something to happen, or you wanted, to achieve a goal or have a thing in your life, whatever it might be, and it seemed like it wasn't happening, and then boom, it shows up, right? Have you ever had it show up like that? And it's almost like maybe because you've been on hold for so long, or you've been wanting it and not succeeding, or feeling frustrated or whatever, that when it shows up, you're almost like, is this real? Like, can I trust this thing? Um, you know what I mean? Have you ever had that experience? So we talked about that a little bit, and I'm trying to think what's her example she gave me. Blanking right now, I can't think of it. But anyway, I've had that experience for sure. And so, and it's interesting because, when it happens, you don't want to like block your blessings or, dismiss something that is really good for you. But I think sometimes in life we're so used to going, oh, it's not working out. We're so used to things not happening, especially in times when life is challenging in general. Like we look around us and the economy can be really bad, or everybody's complaining about COVID, or you know what I mean? There's just all these things that are happening that make you think, well, everybody's struggling, and so it's normal for me to feel like I'm struggling too, or pardon me, I'm used to having to wait, or it's been so long, or there's always been these problems, and so you're kind of caught in that routine, that kind of groove, that rut of feeling like you're not going to get what you want. So when it happens, you don't know what to do with it, right? Or do you? Or do you feel like, great, now it's my time? Do you snap right into that and just go for it? Or is it awkward? And so I've had both. And so there's times I feel like, yes, great, now it's happening. I can go do the thing, whatever it is. I can have this experience. It's my time, all that. And then, well, so that could be just it. I could just feel great about it and then start to take the steps toward it and pursue it, or, just be really happy about it. And then you can also have, like, maybe you're in the midst of that. Maybe you're feeling really great about it. And then, so, you'll hear from a person, or like some message you get. Maybe you see something on TV and it's like, kind of like a warning, or, you know what I mean? Like you hear, I don't know, you could read something even. It could come from anywhere. And it's like, maybe now's not the time for that. Maybe you need to reconsider and do this and, plan B, or, hold off and wait till later, and then you could do twice as much, or, that kind of thing. And you're like, oh my God. It can be confusing. It can be frustrating because you're wondering what to do. It seemed like everything was all set up and you're ready to go, and then maybe not. So I've had a little bit of that lately. I'm kind of perplexed. I'm a little bit perplexed, and also because I do have a child. He's a teenager now, but technically still a child. Cryptic. Am I being cryptic? You want me to just say what it is? Well, I am kind of saying what it is. Okay, I'll give you an example. So I've had some opportunities to travel recently, and and frankly, a lot of stuff. Part of well, let me just say this. So I think I mentioned before, I won tickets to Belize, right? I was so excited, and I just happened to enter this contest just very randomly and forgot all about it, and then heard one day, oh, by the way, you won these tickets. And I was like, this is amazing. So that's great. So I'm like, okay, boom, I'm going to go to Belize. All I have to pay for is the accommodations, but the travel, the airfare is totally covered. 2 tickets, great. And it could have been to any other place, but it was to Belize because I chose that. And so so that came up. Anyway, there were a bunch of different opportunities for me to travel here, there, wherever. And then I started looking, okay, well, is it a good idea to spend this money? Because I got to do hotel, and if I want to go here too, and there, and there, and there. And I'll tell you, quite honestly, for a while, especially when I was in the DR and costs were really low, I was able to do a lot of stuff, right? And now I'm back in the States, it's like, ugh, this is not the same. Things have slowed down. This is different. And so would it be irresponsible of me then to go and decide to go on a vacation? Or do I listen to a friend, for example, who said, and this is, hypothetical, who's like, no, it's better for you to save your money and don't go now, like put it off, put off some of your travel plans till next year. Or, that kind of stuff. And it can be like, well, gosh, I was all excited about the stuff I was going to do, and I had the dates, and, whatever, I figured I'd work it out. And that made me think, well, am I being like careless with money if I do that? Or should I not be, I wouldn't say impulsive because I don't think it's impulsive, but should I like hold off for another time? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, you guys. Can you feel me? Who said cryptic? Can you write back, please, and say, do you understand? Do you guys feel me at all? I'm in my head today. Not entirely, just for a little while, not the whole day. But I have been thinking about this. It's like, wait a minute. When all of a sudden it's like everything's green lights, green lights, green lights, is it odd? Should I be questioning if the lights are green? Is it really green? Is it a trick? For prices regarding Belize, check out videos, different price levels for Belize. Okay, I need to know what videos. You know what I mean? But is it a bad idea? Is it a bad idea to just, maybe something is considered impulsive, but if you don't feel like it's impulsive, is it necessarily poor judgment? Or, You know what I mean? It's like questioning your blessings. That's why I entitled this thing like when life gives you blessings. Because usually we think about when life gives us lemons, right? And people are like, oh, you make the best of it, you make lemonade and all that stuff. But what if it's not lemons? What if it at least appears to be blessings and you have the opportunity to do these different things? Should you question that, or should you just go with it and feel like, I wouldn't say like I'm entitled to it, but um, like it showed up in my life. I really, like I was saying, I miss traveling for sure when I left the DR. And I've done some domestic travel, like to see family and stuff, but that's not the same. That's not the same to me. It's like, let's go discover a new place, right? And so is that, my hair is wet. It's on the back of my neck. Ugh. Is that, am I being foolish? Would it make more sense to wait and postpone some of these things? It's like the idea of, okay, so since we've been back in the country, I've been back like a year and a half now, which feels like forever, by the way. To make another move, or to do, okay, so let me try to say it another way. Here's an example. So if I do something that feels really good for me, like, oh, this is going to be fulfilling and it's going to make me feel exhilarated and like I'm, achieving something, or I'm fulfilling some part of myself that's, but I feel like I'm missing out. And it's not harming my child, because I would never do that. But, or should I do the thing and maybe have him have to, make a change? Or do I just make sure he's completely in a zone that is like consistent and all that, and I just kind of suck it up for a while? My gut answer is like, I suck it up, right? Because I'm the parent and I'm the one that's supposed to make the sacrifices, and I have. Buenas noches. Hi, Henry. So do I continue to do that, or do I say, yeah, okay, I can do the thing that's going to be fulfilling for me, and I know that in that, at a certain point, still, if it's going to take all your money, maybe you should wait, do something a little smaller. Yeah. Okay. So my son just turned 13, by the way. He just turned 13. Yay! It's fun to have a teenager. So far, it's only been a month. We'll see, but no, he's good. Or do I? Yeah, so do I pursue the thing that's going to make me feel real? I mean, I'm not like in a bad place, but it's going to, like take me to the next level where I'm like, ooh, I'm excited about life again, as opposed to kind of like plodding through day by day. I'll tell you this, being back in this country, it definitely feels like the lifestyle is just, what do you call it? Like a hamster wheel. You work to pay the bills, you work to pay the bills, you work to pay the bills, I'm going to have some fun. I do go out with friends and stuff. I'm too old to have these questions. It's my second chance to go for it. I could be diagnosed with breast cancer. Look at that. My son will become worldly. Yes. That's the answer I want to have. Here's the thing. So I was thinking about that, right? I'm like, what if we pull up and go someplace else? Look, the plan always was, and I've told him this, the plan has always been, we're up out of here. In a certain amount of time, we're up out of here. But I'm considering now, what if that time comes faster than I thought it was going to? Would that be disruptive to him? So, for example, he's in 7th grade now. In the US, 8th grade, finishing 8th grade is a natural breaking off point before you go to high school. But if I say, hey, let's go someplace, and he finishes 8th grade in another location, is that going to just throw him off and it's going to be a problem? Like, is that selfish of me? Or does he just fit in and, continue his studies and potentially do all of high school in the new location? The person who said, he's young and he's adaptable and he's going to be worldly, I do tend to agree with that. But I also think about the fact that, how, well, I'll tell you this. So about me, I went to the same high school for 3 years, freshman, sophomore, junior. As long as my son understands relationships. Yeah, keep him. Okay, so let me finish my thought and then I'll address that comment. I went to the same high school for 3 years. I didn't love it. I mean, it was okay. Very small school. I went to small, like, private schools and stuff. And it was, well, so here, the thing about it was that I grew up going to mostly white schools, with white kids. And I was always like one of 2 or one of a handful of black kids in my class, sometimes only girls, and whatever. And so by the time you get to high school, you're starting to notice boys and you want to have some social life and all that stuff. And it kind of wore on me after a while. And I had friends who were at other schools and they had much more of like a social life connected to their friends at school. Well, I didn't have that. And I mean, I had it a little bit, but not like these other kids were having it. And so my senior year, I begged my mom. I was like, please, 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 let me go to this public school because they have a football team. And I thought at the time, well, that's what high school is about, football and cheerleaders and, you know, all the big stuff. And I think in part because she was tired of paying that tuition. Um, I think because of that, and also maybe because she just wanted to let me have that experience, she let me go to this public school. Can I tell you, it was like not fun. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like all that I thought it was going to be. And I wouldn't say I regret it, but if I had to do over again, I might have just stayed and sucked it up, you know, at that same school that I started at. So I don't know. So there is something to the continuity and and versus disruption of that kind of experience. So I can see both sides. I tend to think generally, and I tell people this, if you are happy, then the people around you are going to be happy too. Go for it. I love all you people are like, go, 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 go. This is awesome. I tell people around me, like friends and family and whoever, that, you know, if you, like I said, if you're happy, then the people around you, if it's your spouse or your kids or family, whatever, even people you work with, they're going to be happier too because you are exuding completely fantasía. Okay, gracias, Henry. Passport heavy, the best video. Okay, thank you. I'll check it out. Um, yeah, when we are fulfilled, then we are exuding happiness and balance and, you know, all the good stuff. And so people around us feel that and then they feel good too, versus if you're just plodding through life doing stuff you're not really loving and you're feeling like, nah, you know, you're sacrificing in a way that makes you feel resentful. And I'm not there, but just for example, then they feel that too, right? And so I'm always striving to create a positive, loving, happy environment in my home where, you know, with people I spend time with, all that kind of stuff. And my son, I think, is pretty comfortable with the idea. I mean, he already knows we're going to move at some point because you know, that's just been planted. And interestingly, since we've been back here, he's been like, oh my gosh, I remember sailing lessons in the DR and I miss my friends and all this stuff. And I'm like, I told you how good it was. Our house that we had in the DR, which was beautiful, that we got for like so cheap. Um, so I think he's comfortable. Plus, he knows me, and he, you know, he's been with me for a long time, of course, and he trusts me that I'm not going to just do something that's random and, you know, risky or, you know, going to put us in some type of bad position. So there is that. But I guess that's what I was saying initially. Oh, Danny, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Danny. Danny made a donation. I love that. Thank you so much. I know, you know what, you guys, I miss doing this too. I was totally doing all those videos in the DR because I was so inspired. And it was like great to get on and talk about life and like, especially like during COVID, inspiring people. And I wasn't necessarily trying to inspire. I was just, those of you who are watching since way back then, you remember just, I was feeling so good every day because my life was so, you know, like it was just boosting me up all the time. The food I was eating was giving me energy. I was dancing, I was working out, I was doing all those things, and I felt great all of the time. I mean, pretty much, right? And so I was sharing that. I was naturally coming out on these videos. And I think we talked about that the other day. We talked about that the other day when it's like, you know, the energy, that's what I was saying in my last video, that, you know, when you are transmitting energy, just period, whether it's through this kind of medium or in person or on the phone or whatever, people can pick up on that and they can feel really good if you're sharing like good stuff and, you know, loving conversation or it's laughter or, you know, just happiness, or they can feel you can bring them down. You know, I mean, I've had conversations with people where it's like you just want to get off the phone because everything is a problem. All that. Hit the like, please. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Hit the like, please. It's a great vibe. What's a great vibe? Um, so yeah, so I find the like button. I'm on my phone. I don't see a like button, you guys. The DR is a great vibe, right? It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so those of you who've been there know It's super chill. People are all about family and like enjoying the day-to-day experience. They take time when they eat. They're sitting around and they have some wine or whatever. And it's not this like rush, like eat at your desk, eat lunch while you're working. Like that does not happen. At least I didn't see that happening. Lunch is like a sacred time. They shut it down. And, for 2 hours, I was joking with someone today. I was like, oh no, don't call anybody at noon because they're having lunch and they're going to go see their mistress before they go home midnight. I think he was a little offended that I said that. I don't know. But I was like, it's true. I mean, obviously not everybody, but there is that thing about this is my time to replenish myself during the day. Oh, Ron, that's you. You changed your name. Hi, Ron. Ron's a member. Hi, Ron. Super supportive guy. And also, Ron didn't. Right? Hang on. Let me turn my car back on. Yeah, so obviously not everybody's going to go see their mistress, but the point is that people take their time to enjoy whatever it is that they're doing during the day. And then they go back and they finish up their work and then they can focus on work. But it's like, this US and maybe other countries, the lifestyle here is totally backwards. And, it's just work, work, work all the time. And I don't love it. And then, of course, you throw on the violence and you kind of love me. I kind of love you too. It's an anonymous thing we have going on, apparently. Yeah. And so I don't feel, again, I'm not unhappy here, but there's not the same level of fulfillment, period. And that's what caused me to leave the country the first time. Well, I mean, I've lived overseas briefly before, like summers and that kind of stuff, but like to full on move like I did to the DR back in 2018, it's because I was like, there's got to be more to it than this. This is not, work every day, drive the same route, basically, go to the grocery store, pay the bill, watch Netflix. I mean, it just wasn't enough for me. And I feel a little bit of that here, more than a little, frankly. And so, I'm like, okay, so so I have an opportunity to do this traveling like I talked about, not just Big Leaves, but other places. And so I'm considering like, what's my next move? Not just what, but when is my next move? You know what I mean? What am I about to dip and do? Because I keep telling y'all I'm about to do something. But it's not like impulsive. Am I a mango? What does that mean? I guess I'm not one because I don't even understand what that question means. Um, yeah, for me right now, I'm just thinking about timing and like, am I rushing? Would it be better to just chill? Like one of my friends today said, you should just wait until your son finishes 8th grade. So in other words, the rest of this year, which is 7th grade, and then all of next year, which to me feels like forever. All right, let me read this thing. Was I presented with opportunities in the past and I regret saying yes to? Mango is a derogatory term for what? Oh, why do they call women in the DR mangoes? I've never heard that, you guys. I'm not familiar with that term at all. I don't know if that means something sexual or like they're sweet and juicy, maybe. I don't even know what that means, so you got to let me know. Yeah, and so when this friend of mine said, oh, you should just wait, I was kind of a little bit bummed. I mean, I get what her point was in terms of like my son and, other things about just give everything some time. But also, interestingly, now that I think about it, this is the very same person who back in 2017, I got the offer to work at this little school in the DR. I've told you guys this before. Those who know me from way back, I took a job when I moved there for the first time. Well, really the second time because I did a summer there. But when I moved, no, let me think. Yeah, I did a summer in 2016. Okay, no, I don't know about all this sexual terms of women. I don't know. I'm not in that mix. I can't help you guys. I'm not a mango. I guess that's not me. But the same friend said in 2017 when I got this offer to work at this little school in the DR, and that ended up being my job, I was all nervous because I think they contacted me like in November of 2017, and they were like, "Can you be here in January?" And I was like, "What? Like I can't just drop my whole life and in 2 months pick up and be there?" And she's like, "Yes, you can. And this is your opportunity. And this is, God like answering your prayer and opening the door saying, here you go." And quite often, this is part of what I was getting at too, in terms of the blessings. When we ask for things, right? Like I started out by saying we ask for things and then they get delivered to us, and it's also not delivered in the way that we expect, right? We think, okay, I want to have, a job like this, or a partner like this, or a house, or, whatever it is, these opportunities. Yeah, we just ignore all that. Anyway, um, I want to have these things, and then you get it, or at least some version of it, and it's not necessarily like on your timing, or doesn't look like you think it's going to look. It doesn't come in the package that you expect it to come in. And so, you know, do you go for it? Do you kind of like go, no, 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 let me just make it, check off on the calendar and all that type stuff. And so I've been contemplating that today a little bit when she was like, no, you should wait. And I'm going to say that to her too later. If you're watching, you know who you are. I doubt she's watching, but if she is, then I'm going to point that out to her that, the first time around, she's like, go for it, go for it. And I did. From November to January, I packed up actually, we got there in early February in 2018. But I packed up all my stuff. I sold things. I sold my car, the whole bit. And we went, and I took a job at this school, like I said, and I was making $700 a month. No, I'm sorry, I was making $600 a month teaching preschool. You know, and so, and my first rent when I got there was $700 a month in this little bitty, is an apart hotel with a little like mini fridge, like a hotel type fridge. And it ended up being fantastic. So I definitely think that there's something to going for it, even when it doesn't seem like it's like appropriate at the right time. And even then, in terms of my son, I took him out of school mid-year, right? February. Um, yeah, and I remember thinking about that, like, and we went through a whole thing, and we created some closure with his classmates, and put a little, poster board together with some photos so that he had a way to say goodbye to them, and they had a way of understanding where he was going, and, all that stuff. And, it was a big upheaval and, big transition, but he was fine. And we ended up having this amazing life, as you guys know, because you got to see some of that. And I'm at kind of like at a crossroads like that now. Like, okay, like I said, when I came back to the country, the plan was we're going to stay here for 3 years so he can do middle school. Hey, who's saying hey? Hi, Oscar. Are you going through this? Exactly, exactly. And I saw a little bit of that other comment about having a long conversation with my son. I do talk to him about this stuff. And I've asked him, like, are you down for, doing high school elsewhere and all that? And he's like, yeah, and so I do. I absolutely make him a part of these types. These are major life decisions, right? And one thing I have said to him since he was really young is that you always have a voice, but you don't always have a vote. It depends upon what it is. And yeah, I mean, it just depends upon the subject matter. But I include him in conversations because he is a part of my life. And what I do obviously impacts him. And I want him to feel like he matters, and what he thinks is important to me, because it is, and what he feels. And then I take that into account, and I make what I think is the best decision for both of us. So, yeah, so there are these blessings now that are coming because I've been thinking about this stuff for a while. And it's like, okay, do I question the voice, no vote? Exactly. I mean, he has a vote sometimes. Let me be clear. He doesn't always have a vote, though. Like, he ain't running things. We're not running the show. But he's a part of it. And so anyway, so I was saying, do I question this? Is it like too good to be true now that these other opportunities are coming up? And by the way, when I think about making a move like I did before, and whatever move I may make in the future, clearly it's not random. I do have a plan. I do try to line things up as much as possible. But when you talk about moving to another country, that's a big old decision, even for someone like me who's done it before, and I feel comfortable, like I speak some languages, and you know what I mean? I have some skills I can take with me professionally and that kind of stuff. So I'm not just out there like, hey, in fact, I have a friend who's in Portugal right now, and she told me the other day that I guess she heard that there were some foreigners over there. Accept all the blessings. Thank you. You guys are so positive. I appreciate that. I really appreciate the support. I mean, I really, really do. Thank you. She was saying in Portugal that, I don't know if she read this or something, but apparently people who were struggling, like really struggling, maybe even like on public assistance in this country, have gone to other countries, and then they're like, hey, is there a like a food pantry around here, or someplace I can sleep? and it's like, how do you go someplace and not have the ability to take care of yourself? Now, it's one thing if you get there and like, your wallet is stolen, or something that we're not talking about that. We're talking about you go, you don't really have a way to take care of yourself, to provide for yourself when you're there. And I don't even mean provide like super fancy, but if you can't even handle the basics, that's not a good plan. And that's why there are countries like Portugal and pretty much every other one. My comments on like self-sabotage. Do they really? Do they really? That's an interesting comment. Well, let me say this. I wasn't feeling this doubt until my friend made this comment, and it had me questioning, like, really? I mean, because I was all excited. And thank you. I don't know if it's raw or RA, but thank you so much. I appreciate that with love. But listen, and those, when I talk to my friends, that's exactly when people who are really my friends, we have these very real kind of conversations, because I don't want just like, oh, yes, everything you're doing is great, blah, blah, blah. That's not real. It's like, tell me if I'm fucking up, be like, girl, you need to friends gaslight it. I don't know. I mean, I hear you. I see what you're saying about gaslighting. She's pretty supportive in general. Um, but it did cause me to second guess things, because I was like, guess what? This is lining up and that's lining up, and I have this plan and it makes sense like financially, and I can do this. Like, I had it all like lined up in my head. And obviously, even if you have every single thing you think lined up, you're going to get there and it's going to be some bumps in the road, or it's not going to be exactly like you think. But that's part of the adventure. That's, as I've said when I was in the DR. Okay, I feel like we're having a conversation now, Ra. I really do. Why second guess myself? Because I have a little bit of trepidation. That's why. Because it's a big decision that I'm thinking about, and it does impact my son, and it's a big change. And but I really want it. I feel like I kind of feel like I want to go for it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go explore, check a few things out. Yes, you guys are awesome. Everybody's like on the go for it bandwagon. Love you. I love my viewers. I love you guys. It's awesome. So I'm going to go check it out, because this is a place I haven't been yet, right? And I want to go. I've been researching it for months, and like it feels really good. I've made some contacts, at least like online, writing to people, that kind of stuff. So I'm sniffing it out, and I'm gonna go check and see how it feels to really be there. Like, look at housing, look at this, look at that, look at schools, a whole bit. And if it feels like it's a green light, let's fucking go. Like, why not? Somebody said, you could have cancer or whatever, which is true. And so I think there's a distinction between being impulsive and being. Thank you. I do good research. Thank you very much, Ron. I appreciate that. There's a distinction between being impulsive and just deciding, okay, like I said, I've done my checking, I've done my research, and I feel like I'm going to pull the trigger and make this happen. Because sometimes if you sit and, what do they call it, analysis paralysis, you just endlessly check and check and check and make lists and stuff. In fact, that same friend who said this to me is one of those who's like, oh my God. So she's lived overseas too. And there are times when she's thinking about, where should I go here? Should I go there? And she has these endless lists. Like, this place is really great. They have good health care. Oh, but the air quality is really bad. Or this place has great schools, but such and such. But dating is bad. According to stuff she's read. I'm like, how do you know dating is bad? You just need one good person to date, and then you're good. So you cannot. Anyway, yay. You guys are making me feel better about this. Okay, you want to have a second question? Here's another one. Let's switch the topic. What if it's a person? What if you wanted to have a relationship in your life, and it's like, okay, this one, kiss a frog. No, that one, kiss a frog, kiss a frog, kiss a frog. And then boom, a prince or a princess shows up. And you're like, could this really be? How should I look under the hood, kick the tires, that kind of stuff? And I think a little bit of that is to be expected and is appropriate, but not to the point where, again, you miss your blessing. So I was looking at I saw a clip from a podcast earlier. Oh my, you said you really want it. We continue to second guess. No, 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 no. Yeah. That comment about don't tell people until you execute is true. And it's funny because I thought, I think I talk too much, not to everybody. Well, here I am on this platform telling you some things, but I do have a close circle of like really good friends, and it's a close circle. It's not a lot of people, and I have told them, some of the stuff I'm talking about, obviously in greater detail and with like specifics. Um, what was I saying? I was talking about, and so how much do you kick the tires and that kind of thing. I think you need to do some of that, but I also think that when you know that things are lining up, okay, I think when you know things are lining up, I think you have to just trust it and go with your gut. And again, do your homework, do your research, that kind of thing. And then it's like, go, you know, you're in the same boat. It's amazing how your best friends respond negatively and don't realize it. That does happen. That does happen. I mean, I do think, and I'm not saying this is about my particular friend, but I do think it's possible that friends can be, I mean, that term haters is so overused, but, you know, maybe they feel like they're being cautious on your behalf and they just go too far with that, or, I don't know. Is that better? There's no light in here. It's getting dark. Could be. I think this friend definitely is supportive, and maybe she is just being a little bit cautious on my behalf. So I don't know. But anyway, that's what was on my mind today. And I was sitting in my car. I'm about to go out and get some stuff. And I was like, let me just hop on here real quick. Plus, I just wanted to say hi again because I told you guys I was going to start coming back and doing some mainly lives because I don't feel like editing. I just do not. I have too much stuff to do. I'm not in the mood to edit. And also we can do this exchange. When it's live, it's cool because I can hear from you like real time. So, Oscar, are you still there? I want to hear from you guys who are a couple people chimed in and said, yeah, I feel that too. And I've had these experiences. Your friend knows you and too quickly. And what does it say? Only respond. How can support you? You're great. True. I hear you. I saw that comment. Doesn't need to be cautious on my behalf. Yeah. Well, so we're different in this from the standpoint that, I shouldn't say obviously, but she's also an adventurer and a traveler. But like I said, oh my gosh, she goes through these exhaustive checklists and what about this and what about that? And I sense that she's slower to move than I am. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but her willingness to execute is more involved. And that's just because sometimes it's her worry wart. Yeah, I think a little bit for sure. But her willingness to execute is not as rapid as mine, but that's also because she has other things to consider that I don't necessarily have. Or maybe she is a worry wart. I mean, I tend to be, as you guys know, very positive. Hugh! Oh my gosh, Hugh, one of my favorites. How are you, Hugh? Yeah, so here's what I'm gonna do. That's what I've been doing. I pray. I'm like, dear God, please give me discernment, give me like guidance, right? Help me see. I'm trying to get it so it's a better view, so there's more light. Is that better? Not really. I asked for discernment, I asked for wisdom, I asked for very clear guidance so I'm not confused about what step I should take. And then I try to follow that. And frankly, it's been happening. It's been happening. So here's another thing I do. I told you guys this on my last video. I almost in every place I've lived for the past, I don't know, at least a decade, I tend to write things like on a little strip of paper, like affirmations. So if I want to, receive more money, if I want to have a good relationship, if I want to, live in a beautiful home or whatever it is, if I'm talking to God, that's a great comment. If I'm talking to God, why is my friend? Well, because my friend answers in real time. That's why, because I like to have conversations with people. And, you talk to God and God answers, but it's in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like a flesh and blood communication thing. That is valuable to me as well. But I put these affirmations up, and you know how, and I feel like they sink in without, shoot, it's getting dark. Real time, yeah. I think that, what was I, the affirmations. So I haven't revealed that yet, Hugh. I have not yet said where I'm thinking about going, because it's just, what I'll do is when I get there, because I'm going to go, when I get there, I'll do a video. How about that? Yeah. So there's a little suspense happening. But what I was talking about is these affirmations. I write things down, I put them up on my wall, and then, and then, so it's like, I don't necessarily like read them out loud every day. Who is this? Oscar, absolutely pull the trigger. I love it. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you guys. So I read the affirmations are up. I don't like stand in front of them and read them out loud every day. I mean, sometimes I'll like see one that kind of like pulls a chord in me and makes me want to, focus on that. And I may read it or at least focus on it when I read it. When I mean like read it out loud or just focus on it to myself. But more often than not, they're just there. And you know how when you drive down the street, there's a stop sign? You don't have to like read each letter and go, oh, stop. And then you stop. You're just used to seeing it, used to seeing it, used to seeing it. So you automatically know you push the brake and you stop. It's the same thing when you have things like that around you. And so I don't have to read the affirmations out loud every day or focus on them, but they're sinking in. And so some of the stuff that is on my wall is starting to manifest. It is starting to show up in my life. And I'm like, oh shit, it is happening. You know what I mean? And I assumed it would take longer. I shouldn't say that. I didn't have a thought about how long it would necessarily, oh my God. I didn't have a thought about how long it would take necessarily. I just pulled something in my car and it made it, what did I do? I touched the thing in my car and it actually moved. I am in park. Anyway, stuff is just happening, you guys. Stuff is happening quickly. And some of it's a little bit scary. It's super exciting, but it's also a little, I wouldn't say scary, just kind of, well, maybe I should say scary. What more do I need to receive to tell you to pull the trigger? Nothing. I'm just talking it out. Can you be with me as I talk it out? My wife says that I'm beautiful and I look like Jane Kennedy. Thank you so much. Who is your wife? You need to buy her a gift. I love her. You know what? Back in the day, I used to hear I looked like Jane Kennedy all of the time. And it was a huge compliment, of course, because Jane was like the bomb. She was one of the first, was she the first black or even the first female sportscaster? I don't know. But, she had it going on. And I actually got a chance to meet her because, so I was in School Days, right? Spike Lee's movie. And when we were filming one day, it wasn't one of my scenes, but I went to visit on the set of another scene. And she happened to be there that day with her daughter, who at the time was like 3. Her daughter, Savannah, was really young. And someone said, come in, Jane Kennedy's here and you need to meet her because you guys look alike and all that stuff. And I was very young at the time. And so they took me up to meet her where she was sitting. And she said, oh, I heard about you. Someone said there was a lookalike here. Da, da, da. So, we just chatted for a minute. And it was a cool moment. She was very nice. And in fact, I had so much respect for her that I never watched that video. You know what video I'm talking about? I never watched that because I was like, I don't want to see that. That was so foul, by the way, for her husband to do that to her. Like, what kind of a man would do that to someone he says he loves and who's his partner and that they did in their private lives? That is completely unforgivable and foul and all those kinds of things. So anyway, thank you to your wife for the compliment. Okay, so I'm not necessarily hesitating about pulling the trigger. I will tell you this. I bought some plane tickets today. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Oscar. So I'm going to check out this destination and I'll report what I think. I think I'm going to love it. Let me tell you this right now. I think I'm going to love it. I think it's going to be fantastic. And I'm excited. So there's more to come. There's definitely more. Cannot tell you everything right now. Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I'm not stuck. I'm not paralyzed. I'm just contemplative. You know what I mean? Especially when you hear from friends like, well, maybe you should just hold off. Yeah, we'll see. I will know. I will trust my gut and I will trust the nudge from God. Now that kind of word I do listen to, right? And you know what it is. It's not so much like you hear do boom, like a booming voice, but it's that sense you have inside or something. I met a person once, and when I left from the meeting, I had a feeling like this is going to be a significant person in your life. I just had a very strong sense of that. And I only met him for a brief time, but I kind of knew. And Yeah. So sometimes you just, what's, I mean, you don't know exactly. And then after I met that person, then things started to line up, line up, line up. And sure enough, it's like, wow, very significant. So I trust that. Thank you all. You've been so helpful today. You've been so helpful in allowing me to get over this little hump and trust the blessings. That's what this was about. Trusting the blessings, right? When life gives you blessings, do not second guess them, right? Do not hesitate. I mean, I think it's okay to hesitate, to just make sure, and to, like I said, kick the tires, look under the hood, that type. I mean, I think that's just wise. That's being appropriately cautious, but not to the point of, letting it pass you by. Do you remember there's that like saying or something about, there's a person in the ocean or whatever, like drowning, and he's calling out, God, help me, help me, help me. And what is it, like one boat comes by? What does this say? I'm on edge, you want to know. I can't tell you right now. Thank you, Oscar. I do trust God. I trust God implicitly, like no matter what, I always know. And I told someone, I was like, trusting God doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, that you're not going to be scared. Sometimes you have to, I mean, that's when you do trust God, when you are afraid, because it's like, even though things, right? That, what is it, Psalm 23? Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, hello, I will fear no evil because you're with me. That's exactly it. Now, I'm not going through that kind of a situation, but it's still anxiety producing because it's a big, big change. But that thing I was saying about when I'm trying to remember you guys know what I'm talking about? There's like a parable or something where someone's in the water and calling out for help. And I don't know if it's like one boat comes and for some reason the person doesn't get in it. And then he's calling for help. And another boat comes, and he keeps not getting in for whatever reason. Maybe I may be doing this wrong, saying it wrong. And then he's like, God, I asked you for help. And God's like, I sent you 3 boats, dummy. Like, what is wrong with you, So you don't want to wait to the point where you miss your opportunity to receive the help or to receive the blessing. But I do believe in, being mindful and being responsible about decisions I make, especially when they impact other people. Now, if I just want to go out there on my own and, whatever, that's one thing. But I'm not operating with just myself. I'm operating with another person. And so I got to make sure. Okay, I think that's about it for now. Mwah! Thank you guys. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you as always for being there and listening and supporting and all that kind of stuff. I have on, you're catching me like out of the shower, fresh and clean, not a stitch. Blessed. Thank you. Thank you so much. Go out there and, put the affirmations on your wall. See what happens. Like the sign that you get used to seeing all the time. So it's just ingrained in you. I made some new ones today, by the way. About to blow up. Okay. I keep having to look back because it's so close. Thank you, Oscar. Lots of love to you. Bye, everybody. Mwah. Bye, Hugh. I don't know if you're still there. Bye, everybody. I'll be back soon. Okay. Have a good one. Bye.